Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Chaile Time. Toby, welcome. I haven't seen you in a minute.
Well, you were in Durban yesterday. Did you survive the airplane?
Yeah, no, I did.
You don't like flying, eh?
I don't like flying, but it hurt my ears when I was going. But when I was coming back, it was nice and then I was okay. Yeah. How are you? How you've been?
My heart is a bit sore, Chaile.
What's happening?
We always tell the do's and the don'ts, but sometimes you see things happening and it touches your heart a little bit, Two issues happened this week, which sometimes I'm just thinking, why must life be like that, The one instance, a HR manager, okay, she applied for a job at a upmarket company, great opportunity. They sent her a letter of confirmation of employment. All the paperwork was signed off. Then, a few days before she was supposed to start, in the meantime, she resigned from her existing employer. They recruited her replacement. She recruited her own replacement. A few days before she was supposed to start, the new employer simply said, "Oh, sorry, we can't employ you anymore because we found out that your cousin is working here already." She doesn't even have a relationship with the cousin. She didn't even know the cousin. I think it was her brother's wife. They are even divorced. Okay? So she didn't know that the person was working there. Now she's out of a job.
Okay, what is the issue if the cousin is working there? Okay, is that a policy? Is there something that's
some kind of policy that no family members can work together? But I'm just like, jeez.
Yeah, but my brother's wife is not my family. It's my brother's family.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, jeez, this is hard, hey? But the second thing that I was thinking about a few days now, and I actually still want to ask you what happened. What you make me think, that one customer of ours, where he told you he wants to chase one of his employees away because his brother is working at the competition.
Hey.
What happened there?
Hey. So I get a call, and the funny part, it's not funny, but the funny part is like, don't ask me where I got that information.
But these people are demanding. You must put the person in a hearing. But for what?
This guy...
The brother is working at the competitor.
Yes. This guy is just a guy standing in the gate, checking gate control. But now he's driving a big car. A big German car.
Where does he get the money to drive?
Where does they get the big... So when they investigate him, no, it's his brother's car. But his brother works for the competitor.
Now he must be fired, eh?
No, he must be fired. I'm like...
So what happened? We didn't fire him?
No, we didn't fire him.
Okay, that's good.
It doesn't work like that. So what are we talking about today?
Talk is cheap and silence is costly. The impact of inadequate communication on operations and employee relations.
Not the impact of just communication. Inadequate communication.
Inadequate communication. Humans communicate. Besides the fact that most of the time we talk shit, but we do communicate.
There we go again. put PG there. PG.
Oh, is it a PG 18 or something? I don't know. Apologies. Sorry, but you know why I said that?
Yes.
I'm following American politics at the moment. The Democrats and the Republicans. And you look at these people can talk shit.
Yes. Okay, so human talk.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by the fact that there is communication everywhere you go, Every time you'll have catch-up meetings, you have exco meetings, you have menco meetings, and then when everyone stand up folding their diaries and gadgets, and then they will be like, no, we are all in the same page.
Tsepo, when you're in management, now this is a short, valuable lesson in communication, and it's valuable for whether you're a team leader, a supervisor, HR manager, operations manager, general manager, or even a CEO. Often, in any form of relationship, we have this subconscious idea that just because you're there, or you've pitched up, or because you've explained something, that people are on the same page. But we're not always mindful of the fine nuances of communication, how data is communicated and how it's been received, and all the elements that impacts that understanding. Simple things like, and I see this actually a lot. if you're a person in a specialist position or you're highly qualified, your understanding of the world around you, is of a certain level, and you think everybody's on the same level. So you think because something is obvious for you, it's obvious for everyone. And that's not necessarily the truth. Now, I find this a lot, especially with business owners. But it's obvious. No, it's not. It's obvious for you. But you did not properly communicate.
You are right. About 2 weeks ago, I went to implement a absenteeism policy somewhere. So you explain the absenteeism policy and what. And then at the end, you will end up explaining and say, should you fail to follow this, you might end up being put in a disciplinary hearing that might result into your dismissal. Then I closed my paper and I'm like, I know some of you guys here only heard the word dismissal. And sometimes when I drive in this factory, you can see me, here comes dismissal.
I had the same. This week, some guy did the hearing and the guy said, you again. You walk in here, one of us walk out. But anyway, in all forms of relationships, if you look at marriage, for instance, they say one of the biggest challenges or the reasons why a marriage have challenges is because of a lack of proper communication. So in the workspace, if you're a supervisor or a team leader, how often are we frustrated because of grievances? People didn't really understand each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes because of a lack of proper communication, people start assaulting each other. They don't understand what's happening. Disciplinary action like warnings be given where staff say they actually didn't know. And then you as the supervisor are like, jeez, how can you not know? I've told you 10 times. But you thought they understand. Or they understood you at the time, okay? How often do you have strikes? And we're going to go through some examples now. How often do you have strikes? Why? Because people didn't understand. How often do you spend days at the CCMA? Because people didn't understand, okay? Now just quickly, in South Africa, Nelson Mandela always said we're a fruit salad nation, You may not enjoy pineapple or banana or orange, but if you put us together, it's a delicious fruit salad. Yeah. But the reality of the matter is, like you're a black man, I'm a white man. We have different cultures, different understandings. And you must correct me if I'm wrong here, but my experience in many years of actually being a manager in corporate, white people, when they communicate, they like looking you in the eyes and they shake your hand and say, "Dag swaar." Black people, they tend to look a little bit down. It's not weakness, it's respect. Now, white people may see it as a sign of weakness. And to us, black people may think we are arrogant. We're not arrogant, it's just the way we are. That's our cultures.
You're firm. And
so most of communication, what is understood, comes from body language and your historical background and your culture. But when you're a team leader or a manager and you communicate with your staff, you have a perfect fruit salad in front of you. You've got the Indians, the blacks, the whites, the males, the females. You have all of them sitting there, and you think by you just talking, everybody understands. That's where I get this expression. When I ask the staff, "Do you understand?" They say, "They do this." But it's actually this. They just don't understand you. And you know what? Sometimes in IR, like this meeting we're going to have next Friday, you must have it, even though I am involved in the CCMA cases. Why? Because first of all, you speak 7 languages. You're from the same culture. They just understand you better.
Yeah.
You're just better from that communication perspective than I am. Okay. So but anyway, let me just use some illustrations quickly. And then I will explain where all of this is actually coming from. It's actually coming from a CCMA case that I'm currently busy with. And it caused so much frustration because of inadequate communication. Not no communication, but inadequate communication. So, okay, there's some illustrations quickly. A number of years ago, I was a senior manager at a cinema, one of the more popular cinemas in South Africa. And I was off that weekend, so that's Saturday evening, 8 o'clock show. Now, 8 o'clock show on a Saturday evening is the busiest show in the entire week. I pitched up with my wife to actually watch a movie. only to find my whole site on strike. As I parked my car, the manager phoned me. Dubie, the site is on strike. But luckily, she didn't know I was just around the corner. Okay, so like a minute later, I walk in there. It was busy and there was no staff. They were all sitting in the lounge. You know why they strike? They didn't understand how to read their payslip. They were employed by a labor broker at that stage. They didn't understand. So I'm just like, okay. I didn't go watch a movie. I told him, go back to work. I will wait. After the show, I will get your employer here and we will sit until early hour mornings to make sure you understand your payslip. After a few hours of meetings, explaining to everybody, it was found that the company don't owe them a cent. And they said,
and it was like, oh.
No, now we understand. Huh? But it causes strike and customer complaints, inconveniencing your customers because nobody actually said, you know, when you're a manager, you wake up, the sun is shining, you go there, you feel well, you have your breakfast, your coffee, go into the bathroom to do your pee and come back, and then you sit and you think everybody's on the same page. But in the meantime, in the staff's hearts, there's this unity harboring, you see.
And it's boiling, and it's boiling, and it's boiling.
And you as the manager, like, I'm waiting for my next promotion. You've just had your staff meetings, your toolbox meeting, and you think everybody understands. They don't understand until you sit and actually have that interpreter explaining to people properly and demonstrating.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one example. Another example, I was in grade 8. In those days, it was called Standard 6. Ne? And in those days, South Africa was involved in a war, the border war. And the army came to our school and they had like discussions, you know, in front of the whole school. And there's one leader of the army, I don't know if it was a corporal or sergeant or whatever you want to call him. He said something that is standing with me, and it's with me to this day. And he explained, just in one sentence, communication. He said there was a spy or a Renaissance soldier on the ground somewhere, and he was in communication with a pilot. And the pilot bombed a school because they believed the enemy was in the school. And when the pilot was done, the pilot was asking for more information from the spy on the floor, the soldier on the floor. But the soldier on the floor did not hear him properly. So he told him, repeat. So the pilot went to bomb school again.
So repeat means go and hit
do
it again.
What you just did. He should have said, I can't hear you, say again.
So communication was there, but it was inadequate.
Communication, what you say or what you don't say, can have disastrous consequences. You know, something I realized in politics, whether I follow South African politics too. So whether it's here or whether it's in America, just now with Americans having the vote next Tuesday, I'm watching them and whatever. I sort of realized, if I look at the disunity there between the Democrats and the Republicans, all the bad mouthing, the criticism, and it's almost like a hatred between the two parts of the nation. You can put it that way.
They eat the dogs.
Yeah, and it's like that here too. When it's election time, ANC and D and MK and EFF, we're all like, oh, you, like. And then for a moment I realized, like in ancient times or historical times, I can only imagine that when it comes to the choosing of your leaders and your governments, it will be done with sticks and guns and knives and swords. These days in a democratic society, it doesn't happen that way anymore. But it happens. We are still fighting. We're still having the same hatred of each other. There's the same fighting, except that it happens with your tongue.
Yeah, our weapons are here now.
Our weapons are a mouse.
Are no longer weapons of mass destruction.
So for a moment, time out, supervisor, realize the importance of proper communication. You actually rise or fall by your tongue. So where does this come from? I have this client. I sat the whole day at the CCMA yesterday because there was a Section 73A dispute. The union filed a dispute on behalf of their 29 members saying, look, they're not getting paid Sundays and public holidays. So what the manager does is, first of all, they don't have a professional payroll service, okay? They don't use VIP or Sage, they use an Excel sheet. So this manager on the paycheck will just say pay 7,000 Rand as an example now.
So it doesn't break it down into pieces.
She doesn't break it down to say it's actually 5,000 Rand normal time, Sunday time is so much, and public holiday is so much.
Therefore, it's 7,000.
Yeah. It just says pay 7,000 Rand. But she does the breakdown. She takes the biometric reconciliation shift sheet, and then manually she will calculate the normal time, the Sunday, and the public holiday. But now the staff filed a dispute to the CCMA that accusing the employer of not paying them Sundays and public holidays. And you know how disputes like this work, what managers often do? They sit in the office like, stupid union. Don't they know? Don't they understand? They are just wasting our time. Now we have to go sit at the CCMA.
But it's not demonstrated.
They had a meeting before the union filed a dispute. And you know what the company told the staff? It's in your pay. It's in your basic pay. That's it.
And the staff said yes. They understand.
Well, they clearly don't. That's why I say talk is cheap, eh? Yeah, it's like this. Yeah, it's like that. And now you must just be happy with the answer. They should have demonstrated. Bring me your shift sheet. Bring me your roster. Bring me your payslip. Let's demonstrate. Step number 1, the basic conditions say you should have a proper breakdown of your pay in the first place. So they should fix this payslip in the first place, okay? But secondly, sit with people, demonstrate, bring the interpreter, and let them see and let them understand. Because now we sat the whole day at the CCMA only to adjourn, so next week we can have that whole day meeting. I actually got the union to withdraw the case so that we can have the meeting, and then by Monday, that meeting will be next Friday. By then Monday, they can choose to file the dispute again. But there's all this time and energy and frustration. Why? Because the communication was one sentence. Your Sundays and public holidays including your pay. Next subject, please.
And this thing is going to go on and on and on and on. It's not going to stop.
We had with this client the same dispute last year.
Yeah.
They didn't fix their pay slips. And you know what? Staff still don't understand it. The only problem is now, last time it was like 1 or 2 employees. Now it's everyone because there's a union. You know.
I think they will understand this time because I'll be there. But number 2, maybe, just maybe, once again, the business must focus on adding more zeros into their profits and let us do the job.
Yo, we can help. I'm getting upset now. Because this same bloody business. Let me tell you something. There's something important I didn't even say. The person doing the payroll is making mistakes. They're overpaying the staff. So from March, there's one person, from March, they overpay everyone. So from March to September, per person is overpaid by 8,000 Rand already.
It's bonus.
The other employee of last year, for the whole year, it was 30,000 Rand for the year. Overpayment. But when I charge them 3.5 for monthly professional payroll services, no, it's too much. I'm like, I may not swear, but seriously, man, can we make a peep there? We need to make a peep there. Otherwise, the people is going to say, I'm not in the spirit of HR here. But yes, rachtig nou, man. It's like what they say, you cut your nose to spite your face, man.
I think
they are probably overpaying by 50, 60,000 Rand a month. But no, your 3.5 is too much for professional payroll.
You lost me for a moment. I couldn't help it. Yeah.
But anyway, that's for that.
But I think our audience are wise enough. They're going to see what we're talking about and then they're going to take it into
So if you're a young manager, especially if you're a team leader, sit for a moment, make yourself a nice coffee now, and just ask yourself, okay, how can you make your own life easier? by learning a skill of how to communicate properly. I'm telling you now, you're going to have less warnings. And I'm talking about time here. Consuming your time with warnings, grievances, hearings, avoiding or preventing strikes, unnecessary unfair labor practice disputes, and Section 73A disputes. Here we talk about disputes relating to money, necessary promotions, training, those kind of disputes that typically emanates from a lack of proper communication. So teach, young man, young lady, teach yourself that skill, the diligence of how to communicate and to carry your message in a way that people actually understand it. It's going to save you trouble, it's going to make you very smart, I'm telling you. That's all.
Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Interact with us. Thank you. Bye.